Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
Hello, Voices of Wrestling listener. Dave Ryan here. Have you ever wondered to yourself how many hidden gems are hidden away inside the last years of World Championship Wrestling? Have you ever asked yourself how many tenuous gags can be made about the name Mike Enos? And have you ever thought about what it sounds like for two Irishmen to interpret a very chaotic company through its B-show? The answers to all this and more are just a click away. Check out Days of Thunder every second Thursday on the Voices of Wrestling podcast network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by Damon McDonald. It is Tuesday the 11th of April 2023. This is episode 254. Damon, how are you?
Well, good. It's 6 p.m. my side. Joel is he's wiping the sleepies from his eyes. It's like fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, it's ridiculous what we do, but we do it for, what does Brian Adams say? We do it for you. Do it for you. Busy show today, huh? We got a lot to cover. We have a lot of exciting changes and weirdness and fun and frivolity, right? Everybody's hanging on our every word to say what we think of all the events that have happened.
Okay, terrific.
All right, I had to do that. I have more sound clips, so they'll be playing throughout the day. Like an annoying prick.
I'm going to start off with a confession.
Uh-oh.
I did something very bad. Welke, friend of the show, says, please, Joel, apologise to Damon for failing to secure the Ray Lil Black follow on Twitter. Are you familiar with this person, Ray Lil Black?
Rave? You're saying rave?
Okay, I'll send you.
Right.
I don't know if I'm saying this correct. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp.
Please. We were what? Why? This person followed us? What's the story?
Are you familiar with this person?
All right, let me see. Ray Lil Black. All right, let me now type that into the Google box. Let's see who we got here. All right, there we are. And there's she, a Japanese movie star. Let's see what she's up to.
It's a particular type of movie.
Let me guess. Her Instagram just says pure fucking, was it Ramageddon? All right. Let's see. Oh, Pornhub. Here we are. All right. Let's see. We go. Wowzers. All right. Let's see. Yep.
So some of you listeners may already know, or you probably figured out by Damon's reactions here, that this is an adult movie star. So what
Sure
is the connection to the Super J-Cast? Well, I'm going to send you a tweet, Damon.
All right.
And you tell the wonderful listeners what you can see, because I can't view this tweet anymore.
Really?
I'm just going to have to send you the link.
Looks like somebody was in the house for a historic match just the other day.
Right, so this is it's like a very popular and successful adult movie star, Ray Lil Black. And not only that, but she was also in attendance at Sakura Genesis. So I got really excited when I saw this, and I was like, wow, what an opportunity here. You know, the brand synergy of Super J-Cast. I thought, okay, now we can have a successful working collaboration here. You know, we can promote each other's work. So it was Spanner who sent me this. We were talking about a friend of the show, Liam, who was in Japan, who is in Japan at the moment.
Oh.
Didn't go to Sakura Genesis, instead went to the opening night of the Champion Carnival for some godforsaken reason. Why would he do that? I don't know. But the point is, Spanner replied saying, "Oh, you could have sat next to a porn star."
She's beautiful.
I thought that.
She is stunning.
Right.
She apparently likes cock too. That's a plus, right?
Who doesn't?
There she is with in a little threesome action with another young lady. Yeah, we got to find a way to make this happen, Joe.
Well, no, I've ruined it already. So I replied to the
This
tweet.
one's all right. This one's all right. I dig this one. we could definitely use this type of listenership. That is for fucking sure.
So anyway, Damon, I replied to this tweet and I said, "What on earth? Why is she not following us? Sort it out at Ray Lil Black. This is the ultimate in potential brand synergy." And she blocked me.
Okay. Oh no! Did she really? Oh,
Yeah. Where did I go wrong?
I don't know. I mean, come on! I thought, wow. How? Why? Oh, all right. So
There are
listen.
two potential explanations here from Spanner here. It says that's because you support anti-cummer, the Aaron, that or she works for a competitor of Tenga. So it's got to be one of those two.
Listen, I will fucking, I'll whatever she's selling, I'm buying. Let's put it that way. So we got to find a way. How about can one of our listeners find a way? Maybe one of our fine people who can maybe construct a sentence or two in Japanese and explain who we are and what we do and how we're big fans and how we meet her on board. Got to make this happen. Come on. Jesus.
Can you imagine how great that would be if we could get her on the show?
Oh, my God. I mean, what do you think? Have you listened to a clip yet of her? Can she speak a little English? Because I can't speak any Japanese.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with her work. I'll definitely do my homework.
Yep. Me too.
A deep dive into the content.
Yeah, I'm all about this. This is nice. Yeah. She's getting like triple teamed in this one. Nice. All right, hey. Yeah, she seems like a good egg. So let's see what we can do to make that happen. I'm excited for that. But
Damon,
what?
Speaking of good eggs.
Oh, yes. So they came. Those
And so did you, I hope.
Let me tell you something. I fucking hated it. It was so terrible. I'm not gonna lie. It was like having like this big hunk of silicone wrapped around and once it's on your dick, it's like, what do you do with it? Like, how do you even? Because let me ask you a question. Are you a full stroke kind of guy, or I feel like I only use about 1/4 of my dick, right? I don't go all the way down and all the way up. Do you?
Yeah, I think scientists say that humans only use 1/4 of their dick. And
I think it's half the brain.
Oh no, I think I'm mixed up with something else.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just crossing Tenga off the list of potential sponsors of the podcast. You've absolutely buried them.
Sorry, but it wasn't for me. No, it was not for me. It was actually more of a it was probably my longest session because I couldn't. I couldn't come. I couldn't. It was just so uncomfortable and so during the whole thing. I'm like, what's the point of this? Like, what am I doing? Maybe it was that. Maybe I couldn't get that out of my fucking head. I don't know, but it didn't feel great. It didn't feel different. It felt worse. And I had this It was terrible. But I made sure that I was like, I bought these things. I gotta find a way to finish it, and it finally did. But it took forever.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you, buddy.
That's a lot of determination and perseverance. You got 6, is that correct?
Yes, I gave 2 to my friends who came over on Friday.
Okay.
I
was going to say we could give the others away like as a prize. We could have some sort of competition. And
I mean, I have at least 2 more. So, if anybody wants them, I'll send them to you. I don't give a shit. They're not for me. They're not for me. It was a. That was the sound of my dick. Yeah, I get it. All right. There you go. Oh my God! Stop it.
Okay, that's
It
enough.
won't stop now. All right, there we go. Yeah, fine.
It's got a mind of its own.
It really did.
All right. Let's move on then, because we do have a lot to talk about this week. First of all, so it's something we discussed off the air. Can we tempt you with a trip to London, to Wembley Stadium, to see the AEW show all in the summer? Because I will be in the UK at that point, fingers crossed, and I'm considering making the trip up to London, even though it is an AEW show and there's no guaranteed New Japan presence.
But
how likely do you think it is that we do see some New Japan pro wrestlers on this Wembley show?
I think it's safe to say that we will be seeing more than a few on that show. Let's put it that way. I can't imagine not. I mean, by God, don't we have a U.S. IWGP U.S. champion that needs a title defense? Maybe we'll have it still around that time. Here's the dilemma that I have, though. So in that same venue, Blur is playing. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to fly over, why don't I fly over for Blur? But then you said, you might probably will be going, and Dan will be there. And that'll be the first time all 3 of us are together. So trust me, it's in my head to make it. The problem is money and flights and all that bullshit. But let's put it this way. I'm thinking of it, but that's a 6-hour flight. It's going to be the longest flight for a long time, and I gotta psych myself up for it. I'm going to give you a definitely maybe. How about that? Definitely maybe, and then all 3 of us will be together, and we'll exchange eggs. That'd be great.
That would be pretty epic. That would be the 3rd country we've had a JCast meetup. So
that's true too. That is true too. And here's another thing too. Like I know Cheryl will want to go. So I don't know. I got to figure it out. We'll figure it out. Maybe a sugar daddy is out there to pay my way. Be nice. Maybe we had enough donations for a first class trip for Uncle Damon. Hop over the pond. Probably not, but okay. So you're going to be there at that time, right? Yeah, you are. Damn.
Yeah, I will be in Devon, so it's a bit of a journey up there. Mally says she's not interested in going. She doesn't really want to go up to London, so I'll probably be going solo. So I'm just sort of looking into the options, whether it's going to be train or whether I'll drive up. But it's looking most likely it's going to be me and editor Dan. So we will be there. Hope you can join us as well. And listeners, if you're planning on being there, do get in touch and we can organise some sort of meetup where you can pay for our drinks.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. That sounds like a real good plan. All right. Where are we going here?
Viral Viper says, what is happening? Why are Noah, NJPW and All Japan linking up? So there was a little teaser video clip that was posted by social media accounts from all 3 companies. And I'm assuming that this is going to be a version of their All Together show, which I think they did one in 2011 after the earthquake and tsunami. So there was sort of a charity element to that. And I think they did another one in 2012 as well, if I'm not mistaken. How are you feeling about this? Do you expect something similar?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll see plenty of tag matches. Right? I'm hoping we'll see some interesting singles matches that would be dream match like, but not holding my breath. if past performance means anything, and history means anything, we probably aren't going to get that. But I think everyone does enjoy them. If you're a New Japan fan, if you're a bigger fan of other promotions, it's usually a frustrating time because your fuckers are looking at the lights. That's for sure. So, yeah, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably at a 6 or a 7 in my excitement.
Maybe that's why we have a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Maybe Okada was not interested. They're like, hey, do you want to do an inter-promotional tag match with All Japan logos? Says, fuck that. Just take the belt off me. I'm not doing it.
Right. Well, that was, listen, if that's the elephant in the room, right? That's the big news of the week, I'm sure, is that title change that you, if I'm not mistaken, were on top of long before a lot of people, right? So I think you deserve a little bit of a victory lap, don't you now?
I do. Should we work backwards then? Should we go straight into the Sakura Genesis main event?
Yeah.
Or should we build up to it?
Yeah, I mean that's the big news. We can't dance around it. That's that's what people want to hear, I would think. Our thoughts. And look, I never thought this day would come. I got to be honest with you. I never thought this day would come. If you asked me a year ago, if you asked me 6 months ago, I would honestly give you there's no fucking way. Slap a new coat of paint and change things up a little bit with factions. And by God, looks like you got a new guy. This guy, I don't necessarily have a problem with. The guy 6 months ago, yup. But I don't know if it reinvigorated him, gave him purpose. I don't know. Who fucking knows? Maybe he owed somebody money and finally paid off the debt. Whatever it is, the guy's not the same guy. I know the name is the same, but he's not the same guy. It's amazing that he's holding the top belt. It's I don't know. I don't think it's that risky from a Japanese perspective. I mean, I'm not Japanese, so I'm assuming a lot of things, but from everything we've heard, he's pretty over. And if you're taking Sakura Genesis as a temperature gauge, that crowd was red hot for him. I know everybody's walking on eggshells. I know everybody's a little nervous about it. I am too. But I got to give the guy credit. He feels 1,000% more important, even without the title. The title shoots him into the sky. But even without the title, he seemed like a changed guy. He seems like a different guy. And that is very refreshing indeed.
Yeah, there's definitely the presentation aspects of it. Neil writes in and says, please discuss how SANADA's new entrance music is the perfect theme song for the upcoming Just Five Guys 90s sitcom. He's got the new entrance, he's got the new theme, the new trunks. I thought that looked really nice. I thought the robe and the gear, that looked great. The music, that was like generic shonen anime theme number 8. That's my only complaint. I didn't love the music, but the rest of the presentation, absolutely on point. And, maybe this is the moment where SANADA finally clicks with foreign fans of the company. And look, I've been saying on this show for, feels like 2 years now, that he is gradually improved and tightened up his work. And what a vindication of that here. He was a changed man out there, like you say. He was showing confidence and pride and aggression previously unseen. And I think that was well marked by him fucking off the usual feeling out process and just dropping Okada's head onto the concrete at ringside after 2 minutes of the match. That was great. This is no more respectful, plucky 2019 underdog challenger, SANADA. This is a guy who went out there, carried himself like a man who, believed that he was better than Kazuchika Okada. He wasn't going to be punked out like Kaito Kiyomiya. And the match, it wasn't like a work rate classic that is going to make match of the year waves with non-New Japan watchers, but I thought it was a really brilliantly told story with SANADA's transformation, just peaking at the perfect time. Like you said, he had the crowd on the palm of his hand. I thought Okada was the perfect opponent. He worked that disrespectful heel champion really well with his facial expressions, slapping on the money clip. And the money clip, that's become a brilliant narrative device for Okada, like a calculated insult to opponents that he feels are beneath him.
Right.
And all this, I thought, brought out the best in SANADA. And I loved all the little callbacks to his history, the G1 win in Osaka with the rounded body press, his LIJ debut in Sumo Hall with a TKO on the very same person back in 2016, the thumbs up, which Okada flashed at him after the KOPW match in 2019, the Shining Wizard as a nod to his mentor, Keiji Muto, Taichi giving him all the motivation at ringside, and as I mentioned before, the deadfall, the icing on the cake, handcrafted to be the perfect counter to the Rainmaker. And yeah, a little bit of a victory lap for me. I called that exactly last week. Just the whole match was structured to be like a love letter to SANADA's time in New Japan and his rivalry with Okada. And I just found it an incredibly rewarding payoff for freaks like us who pay attention to all this shit. Kikuchi's done it again, Damon. So yeah, people are excited about this. Forno says, how does SANADA's new look and character shift resonate with you and Damon? Is it an improvement? Also, how's Damon's home bar doing? And Louis says, my question is if Damon is thumbs in or thumbs out on SANADA as IWGP champion. So yeah, I think you covered that at the start. What did you think of the actual match?
I thought the match was very good. I don't know if it's going to be one of those matches that I would go back and watch again and again. But I thought the match was great. It had fantastic energy. Like it truly was one of those things where, and we talked about it last week. Every fall you're kind of holding your breath, and that closing stretch where it was, Rainmaker reversal of a reversal, and that constant one-upsmanship, and then finally putting them away with arguably the best counter to a Rainmaker that you could think of, tailor-made for it, and it's almost as if it was made for just that. I thought Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton were outstanding once again. Their excitement got me excited. It was great. It was really great. I don't think it's my favorite match, probably not even of this year, but I thought it was super solid. I think SANADA, like I said, that he I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with this SANADA holding the big boy belt. Now, how long will that be? I don't know. And again, the jury is still out. He had maybe the best dance partner he could possibly have. Let's see what he can do on his own. A side note, the bar is fine. But I don't know if I've mentioned this publicly, and I know Joel knows, but I don't think I've mentioned it publicly. But why not? Being that we're asking about the bar. The bar is great. But I am, I think it's 11 weeks sober. I've not had a drop of alcohol since middle of January. So, yay me. It's, I don't miss hangovers. That's for fucking sure. And people ask me oh, is this forever? I don't know. I know today I'm not drinking, and I'm probably not drinking tomorrow. And that's how I see it. It's just a choice. I don't know. And there's no rhyme or reason other than, quite honestly, I got fucking sick and tired of making, of being that guy. I just don't want to be that guy anymore. So there's that. There you go. So SANADA gets a big win, and me too. I get a win too. Yay, me.
Okay, terrific.
If I'm not mistaken, Chris, our friend of the show, Chris Samsa, he was talking about that when he was on the show. Mm-hmm. Am I correct?
Yeah,
I think he's celebrating a long time sober as well.
He is.
It's maybe that could be the new Super J-Cast gimmick. We can ditch the strong zeros and be the
teetotalers.
The podcast of teetotalers. Yeah,
I have bought a lot of tea recently. I will say this: that Chris was a bit of an inspiration, honestly. Just talking to him about it. Again, the time's got to be right for people, but it's just. I just made a choice. That's all. So there you go. But yeah, Chris, congratulations to him. Let's see what I can do with it.
Wonderful. Okay. Pro Wrestling V1 says, do you think SANADA will prove to be a draw in Japan? I see little risk in shaking things up. They can still run Okada and Tanahashi on top when they come to the States, which is correctly a lesser priority. Yeah, I think it'll be fine in Japan. I think he's a hit with the domestic crowd. I don't think there's any danger of the attendance is dropping off or anything while he's on top. But I am quite curious about what this means for the US shows and how he will be received as champion in the States.
Well, I mean, obviously he doesn't have the name recognition that a Tanahashi or an Okada has, but I think he's above what Jay White was starting at, right? Look, it's all about presentation and it's all about re-education. And it's, if he looks like a champion and wrestles like a champion and, fires on all cylinders as a champion, then he's a champion. Let's put it this way. I don't think anybody's going to be fucking hand-waving SANADA as much as he would have if he had won it 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago. He's a different guy. He's definitely a different guy. So I think it'll be good for the people who already have tickets. But I don't necessarily think he's the guy that's going to bring people in. But aside from the people who already watch, who is aside from people that people are already familiar with, through AEW and stuff like that. So, I think that's to me, that's an unfair want, because there's really not a guy on that New Japan roster that you could say the same for, can you?
No. And I think there's a lot of questions about this reign itself and how long it's going to last. Again, we've got a question from RSK who says, got to think, what is next for SANADA? Will he drop the belt at Dominion or keep it longer? I mean, particularly, Damon, looking ahead to Forbidden Door. Is SANADA going to be walking out of the Forbidden Door event as champion? Because that would certainly be interesting if he is. Stuart says, who do you think is most likely to challenge SANADA at Dominion, Naito or Takagi? Also, any predictions and wants for SANADA's title reign? So, how do you see this reign playing out, Damon? Do you think this is just the standard cup of coffee reign to legitimize the new guy and his new faction, and then he's going to lose it at the next big show? Or do you see him holding this into the G1 and Forbidden Door and maybe even Tokyo Dome?
Yeah. I kind of lean toward the first suggestion only because of past history, right? And you've seen that all the way from, guys like Riki Choshu to Naito, just that cup of coffee evil, not a super long.
Jay White's first reign.
What's that?
Jay White's first reign.
Jay White's first reign. Yeah. I mean, there is a history with this company of kind of making that first one maybe not as long as one would hope or would want. And again, that's not every champion, mind you, but there is that's there. I don't know. If I kind of feel like if I said it'll be a short reign, and again, I don't know, but like if I were to say it was a short reign, I don't want it to come across as me shitting on the guy. It's just what New Japan does. But I kind of, putting that Super J-Cast branded gun to my head, I would say it's probably shorter. Now, if you're in the camp of, you know what, it'll be longer and he'll go into Forbidden Door with it. And, you know, what that does is that it does open up possibilities and a little bit more flexibility for a guy like Okada to have a match with maybe an AEW guy or you know, the possibilities of dream matches kind of opens up when you don't have the burden of a title. So it might be a blessing in disguise if, in fact, SANADA still holds the title going into Forbidden Door. Look, it looks like it's Hiromu that's going to be the next challenger. You know, after he gets past the Kanemaru thing for the junior title. I mean, that has interesting possibilities for sure. I mean, let's put it this way. You know, aside from Bushi, everybody else in that fucking faction has held that title. So why not give it to Hiromu? But I just think it's interesting and it's different and it's fun and it's not the same old, and I embrace that. I love that. So keep me guessing. So to answer the question, I think it's going to be short, but I have no problems with it. Again, going into the summer and him still holding the title.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of leaning towards him dropping it at Dominion. I don't know to whom. I think Hiromu would be a very bold choice. Maybe they're going to finally pull the trigger on that and have Naito win G1 and face Hiromu as champion at Tokyo Dome. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunities. I think something like SANADA defending against Naito at Dominion. Shingo would be an interesting pick. It does seem that the theme for the next couple of months is going to be just five guys feuding with LIJ. So I suspect it's going to be some form of that. But last one on this, Damon, what would you say to all the people who've not been following New Japan, who are now seeing the news about SANADA being the new champion and being like, ugh, SANADA's the champion, the company's dead, rah, rah, rah.
Shows me I got it. I got those texts. So, look, you shrug your shoulders. I mean, it's just really what it is like a key indicator that people don't watch, right? I mean, if anybody's saying that, you're not watching the product. I mean, that being said, I have struggles with SANADA, this version of SANADA, not so much. But again, there's still plenty to kind of sort out in my mind of him being the guy. Look, you know, people talk about, you know, the people that were on top when they got involved with New Japan. That was years ago. And years ago in pro wrestling is like dog years. You know, it's forever. They gotta make stars. What are they? You can't have the same fucking shit. Even though it was great, you know, it still gets long in the tooth. It's just you can't do it. You're gonna die a slow death if you do. I think this is the smartest thing that they could do. And again, I'm willing to hold out and see what. Let's put it this way. I know that there is a large body of work that one can judge SANADA. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a try. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's like I'm more excited for this than say, you know, Jay White. I think the possibilities of great matches is even better than what Jay would have brought to the table. I'm totally fine with it. I really am, and I'm willing to give him a shot, and I hope other people do. If not, you know, okay. I mean, I'm not gonna twist your arm, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And again, one match, but let's see what the guy's got. Let's give him a shot. I got no problem with it.
Okay, let's work backwards then. The eighth match was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match with Hiromu Takahashi defeating Robbie Eagles in 21 minutes 12 seconds with the Time Bomb 2. So Hiromu successfully retains the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Now, we've said on this podcast many times that Robbie Eagles is one of the best in the company at the leg match and chaining together that offense that make his control period so fun to watch. So he brought the new attitude, being a new member of TMDK, and ruthlessness to this match, which I thought dovetailed really nicely with that style. He looked like a killer, and not even the crowd will save Damon. That amazing spot with the somersault dive through the ropes, right on those two nice ladies with the Australian flag.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Zach was on hand to give one of them an ice pack after Robbie absolutely caved her head in. I mean, this is next level heel work. I respect it. But, but that aside, it was such a joy to watch the variety and the pacing of Robbie taking apart Hiromu's knee with surgical precision. And here's the selling fetishist klaxon alert. Woo, woo, woo. I wish Hiromu hadn't just blown it off when he was going through his signature moves, but I accept I might be on an island there, and it didn't affect my enjoyment of the match too much because there were some great moments like the poison rana from the top rope, that great bit where Robbie kicked Hiromu's knee as he was going for the thrust kick, and just all the Ron Miller special moments where Robbie was showing great intensity and Hiromu sold it really well. The crowd were buzzing, and I was really hoping for a tap out there, and it felt quite deflating when we transitioned into the Dynamite Plunger Bomber Time Bomb 2 finishing sequence without any sign of the leg damage. So it was a really great match, and I largely put that on Robbie because he dominated it, and I felt left, in spite of defeat, he left with his stonks raised that, if it was even possible, that this new heelish edge, I think, fits him like a glove. It's not a complete redefining of the character. It's just a little tweak where he's pissed off and wrestling his normal game, but with added venom and ferocity. And as I said, Robbie Eagles is one of the safest bets for a quality match in New Japan. This guy just never has a stinker, never phones it in. The floor for a high-level a Robbie Eagles singles match on the card it's like 4 stars. And the consensus I've seen here sort of landing around 4.5, which I agree with. But, I mean, we go back to the elephant in the room of Hiromu talking about wanting to break the junior title defense record, which I think is 12. So that means he would need 9 more defenses to do that. And look, I like Hiromu, and I think he's having a good year, but I feel that dragging this reign out to 12 defenses when it's only at 3 at the moment, that would feel like a mistake to me. But I will say, despite Hiromu feeling stale, him being on top has arguably helped New Japan to stack the deck with viable alternatives. We're looking at, again, guys like Robbie, Leo Rush, Yo, El Desperado, Master Wato, to name a few, all of them gunning for Hiromu, which does make the prospect of Best of the Super Juniors really interesting and hard to predict this year. And as you said, Kanemaru is the next challenger. So what did you think of the match?
Outstanding. It reminded me a lot of those, early to mid 90s type junior heavyweight title matches where there was plenty of sandpaper and plenty of grit and plenty of, bare bones wrestling. And I put that in air quotes, as opposed to the death-defying, high-flying shit. But there was other layers to it. Like, to me, this was a match that had so many different layers between Robbie working over Hiromu, between that sick fucking Poison Rana spot. Oh, my. The Robbie taking the fucking dive over the top and again, booting that poor lady in the head. She was wearing the ice pack. They gave her an ice pack. I did see Zach go over and kind of, do the little apology and all that, made sure she was all right, which was good. Robbie Eagles is, yeah, right. You are right. There's not name me a bad Robbie Eagles match. Seriously. He goes out there and busts it every night. And here's the thing. Hiromu is still great. He really is. He's still great. Just because we like change and different and all that does not take away from the fact that he is fucking great. I do worry a little bit about the 12 title defenses. Like that might stretch things a little thin for me. Because again, I am a big fan of, I don't know. I don't want this to turn into fucking WWE where they're swapping titles and none of them mean anything. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to sit out for 12. There are plenty of challengers Do we have 12 quality challengers, Joel? I don't know if we do. Right? Do we? I mean, seriously, do we have 12? All right, well, what's the number we got to hit? 10? 9 at this point? What do we need? 9 successful defenses for him to break this record now?
Yes, that's correct. No.
Okay, so, I mean, you figure Master Wato is going to be in that mix, right? You figure, well, Kanemaru is going to be in the mix. We know that. I mean, Leo Rush was already in the mix. Who else? I mean, are we looking at the current tag champions? Or are we looking at outside the promotion? I just think that's name me 8 quality guys, 9 quality guys, 8 quality guys that can fill that spot. Kevin Knight, maybe Kushida. Yeah, we're getting close. Let's put it that way.
Also, I think we would need to increase the frequency of these matches because it felt like there were only about 3 IWGP Junior heavyweight title matches last year. So I don't really want to be waiting for 4 years for this reign to come to an end. So, yeah, I think there's interesting stories to be told, but I just think we need to increase the pace of it. And it will be challenging to keep the division fresh if we are gunning for that record, because New Japan is not a company that tends to do non-title junior singles feuds. That's quite uncommon. So if we're just letting the whole division stagnate just to get to this end goal of Hiromu breaking the defense record, I don't think that would be a good idea. But we will see.
Do you think? I'm sorry. Just one last question. Do you think we'll see any juniors in G1? Oh, hello.
No.
All right.
Yes, I love you too, Esther. I've got a little sleepy girl here. No, I don't think so. I think New Japan have got a challenge on their hands when it comes to the G1 in just fitting 20 of their own high-level heavyweights into the mix. Right. So no juniors for me. Okay.
All right. I don't have a problem with that, but I guess the biggest problem that I have with that is that it feels like the juniors then get put on pause, but it's something that we go through every year. No biggie. All right. Then before that, the tag titles match, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. So this is the IWGP Tag Team Championship match with the challengers, Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis defeating the champions, Bishamon, Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto in 15 minutes and 30 seconds. Kyle Fletcher pinned Hiroki Goto after the Coriolis. So Aussie Open become the new IWGP Tag Team Champions. And I just will say off the bat, I thought they did a great job building up Bishamon to feel like the best tag team in the world. From the World Tag League win, the FTR win at the Dome, and the brilliant win over Dream Team recently. So I felt Bishamon went into this match on a very high pedestal, and they've made these titles feel like a big deal. Even just the little touches like United Empire being in Aussie Open's corner. We don't often get that for tag title matches. And this feud between these two teams has been built up really well from the World Tag League final to the singles matches in the New Japan Cup. And look, Bishamon are so good. They started this match fluid and dominant. They were mixing up a range of double team spots and putting Aussie Open on the back foot until the Aussie boys had to pull out some high-risk shit to force a foothold in the match. So I just love the story of Aussie Open having to pull out all the stops just to hang with Bishamon, which led to that gruesome spot with Kyle Fletcher's head smacking against the corner of the guardrail from that top rope moonsault. And he was extremely fortunate not to be seriously hurt there, let alone be able to continue to wrestle the match. But it did add a great visual with the blood streaming down his head as a visceral indicator of those match themes that I mentioned. It was literally going to take blood, sweat and tears for Aussie Open to have a chance of winning against, like I said, the best tag team in the world. And I think there's something to be said for seeing your own blood and that giving you the fire in your belly to fight tooth and nail to survive. So very glad that Kyle wasn't seriously hurt, and a happy accident there, which added to the match greatly. And I thought Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton took that ball and ran with it and added so much to the drama of the match by playing that up and talking about how, Davis might be reluctant to tag in Fletcher and it could end up being a handicap match. And they're the best commentary team, bar none, at things like that, for thinking on their feet and reacting to what they see in front of them, not what their notes say or what people are telling them in the earpieces, to maximize the drama of every single match as it unfolds in front of them. And look, this match really did feel like yet another Kyle Fletcher showcase. He was front and center here. The guy's only 24 years old, and he looked like an absolute stud. I've said it before. Commentary has said it. The Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher passing the torch feud feels like it's nailed on in the future. I'm already excited for it because Fletcher already, he's absolutely knocking it out of the park. And it was a great match. These two teams just beat the piss out of each other for 15 minutes. They fought over these tag titles like they meant everything. And it's been a while since we said that. It's no surprise they got the crowd chanting for them. We got the Ryogoku crowd chanting Aussie Open. That's no accident. That is a top draw crowd who knows hard work and talent when they see it, recognizing and acknowledging Fletcher and Davis busting their asses to put on a show for them. You know, did we get any FTR chants from the Japan crowd when they were working in Japan? I don't think so. And, you know, that's not a knock on FTR. It's a testament to the sacrifice and effort and quality of Aussie Open. Because this is a crowd that can tell that these IWGP heavyweight tag titles mean everything to these boys. And the end, when they won, it was a very real, genuine, emotional moment for a team that, you know, they were supposed to be there in 2019. And they've had a lot of bad luck with injuries and the pandemic and everything. And we got this convergence of real life and in-ring stories, great wrestling against quality opposition on a big stage in front of a hot crowd. Doesn't get much better than this. A fantastic achievement for Aussie Open. And also, let's give love to Bishamon, who've worked their socks off to make this division and these titles mean something again.
This might have been my favorite match of the night. I fucking adored this match. Goto and Yoshihashi. I mean, I did an and I don't mean an I mean an what a job. What a fucking, pardon the pun, but like, they were top notch. I don't know. I feel like they were, as much as I really love Aussie Open, I think Goto and Yoshihashi were the fucking stars of this match. Like, I haven't seen, and maybe I'm just opening my eyes a little bit wider, but like I'm hard pressed to find, like, in recent memory, Hiroki Goto being like I know he's good. Don't get me wrong, but like showing and delivering like that was fucking tremendous. I think the crowd energy made this match too. But I even think if this were in an empty arena, I think it would be a great match. But the crowd just helped put it over the top. There was plenty of drama and like, you were right. It felt like the stakes were high. You know, it felt like this was an important match, and it's very easy. And New Japan has been guilty of it, of just hand waving these fucking titles, but they felt like it meant something. And if that's Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto, then fucking big time marks for them, because the belts felt special. I would have zero problem if they wanted to run this one back. I would have no problem. And here's the thing. You talked a little bit about the juniors. Like, I honestly think that the heavyweight tag titles are the most interesting they've been in a long time. Long time. I mean, even if you get, something from, just five guys, and Cobb and Okan are waiting in the fucking wings, with a possibility of doing something, at least like maybe not challenging for the titles, but just being in the mix to kind of gatekeep. Who knows, right? There's so much possibilities with a team that is so fucking good. It's exciting. Like to me, I think I might be more pumped up over the tag situation than just about anything else. It's exciting. It's fun. Matches will be great. And, I truth be told, I would have no problem for them holding on to the titles for a super long time. And here's the thing. I would not care. I would have absolutely no problem if, Aussie Open went through a bunch of challenges and then Goto and fucking Yoshihashi take them back. I would have no problem with that, because if that's the type of shit that you're going to get, give me more. Give me more. Like I said, on a show that, quite honestly, is up there for show of the year. Like, New Japan put on a good fucking show. There was really not a lot of filler at all. This was really fucking good. Like, I love the fact that every match, it felt like, was, okay, we set a bar. And then the whoever was going on next, they did their best to match it or eclipse it. The tag match was my favorite match of the night.
I think the biggest testament you can pay to Bishamon is the fact that whilst I love Aussie Open and I really wanted them to win the titles and I'm happy they won their titles, I was equally sad that Bishamon were not champions anymore. So I'm going to be rooting for them to get back to the top. If we're putting another World Tag League potential for Bishamon out there, I'm up for it.
What are they doing over there?
And yeah, Esther's just having a trip to the toilet.
Oh, very nice.
And it's, TMDK are going to be the next challengers. And look, the bar is high now. The standards have been set, and it's up to the rest of the division, starting with TMDK, to step up to that level. So excited to see where we go from here.
Yep.
So, sixth match then was the NJPW World TV Championship match, where the champion, Zack Sabre Jr., got his fourth successful defense in, this time against Shota Umino, 30 minutes, 35 seconds with the jackknife hold. So Zack retains his TV championship. I did really enjoy the promo at the start with Zack, the shiny jacket. Here, boy, come on, there's a shiny jacket for you. That popped me big. And look, I think, we know what Zack can do. Zack's great. But let's talk Shota Umino. The crowd seemed to be really into him. He's getting good responses from the entrance. And the match started with the urgency I expected from this title, some nice pinning combinations. And as I said during the New Japan Cup, I think Zack is a great opponent for Shota, because Zack worked the whole match around making Shota look good and teasing out the fire and the babyface heat in a way that Naito didn't at New Beginning. From the trash talking to the submissions where he's desperately reaching for the ropes while the crowd are willing him to break the holds. And I think a large part of that is down to the way Zack has got over his submissions, particularly the armbar. That armbar's won him more than a few instant taps. So I'm just going to attend to my crying son for a moment. David, you talk to me about Zack versus Shota, please.
Certainly. You have your hands full over there with the little ones running around. Okay. Was this a coming out party for Shota? I think this is the type of match that is perfect for him, with a super great dance partner and short amount of time, right? We don't have to do a 30-minute epic. We can do under 15. And make sure everything that we do means something. Make sure everything that we do has a purpose, and we don't have to be stretching it out just to kill time. Perfect. I love the fact, and again, I don't want to sit here and stroke off Chris and Kevin, but I'll buy him a fucking Tenga egg or whatever the fuck they really did a outstanding job when it came to the finish and it came to the end, where they were mentioning the fact that he's got to change it up and he's going to learn a lesson from this match, but doing what he did before and not having anything up his sleeve came back to bite him. And then whether that's inexperience, whether that's wanting to be, Hiroshi Tanahashi light, or, in the shadow of John Moxley, whatever the fuck, they kind of made mention that, he's got to be his own guy. He's got to carve a path for himself. And I think this match, and not for me, because I've been on board from the jump, but I think this match helped open some people's eyes and gave people, not open people's eyes, I think it gave people a little bit more confidence in what they have with him. Again, we still have plenty of time. And it does feel like, they're giving him a good amount of opportunity. He's got plenty to learn. He's got plenty to pick up. He's only going to get better. And these are the type of matches that help him in that progression. I thought the match was solid. I thought the match was very good. I thought the match was exciting. And again, I think the 15-minute time limit played in the favor of both guys. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was like, I know we're working our way backwards, but even to this point, I was like, man, this card is going to be fucking good. And we still have, this match and that match yet to go. So, I think, and here's the thing too. It felt like, even with all the matches before it and then the matches after, it was almost like that 15 minutes was like a bit of a palate cleanser or a, just something to kind of get you set for maybe something that's a little bit longer time limit. So yeah, I was on board. The only thing I didn't like about the match, and it's not really the match, but I still hate that fucking TV title. It looks terrible. I just fucking hate that thing. I tell you what, for a company that used to be really top notch with the fucking belts that they had, like just the look of the belts, I got to give them a solid thumbs down. Like, I still can't get over the winged heavyweight. I just don't like it. And I don't like this TV title either. So, and I don't like the KOP one either. I don't know. This was a company that was really, really on point with their title designs, and I think they've lost a step. Again, who the fuck cares, right? Who really gives a shit? But that's my opinion.
What a dummy.
Yeah, what a dummy.
What a dummy.
Yep.
They'll grow on you. I think the belt complaints are stuff that when they are first introduced, a lot of people go, "Oh, this looks weird," but eventually you stop caring about it and you focus on the quality of the matches. So, as I was saying I was talking about Zach getting over the danger of his submission holds and that armbar. So he's used that armbar quite a few times and got quite a few instant taps against high-level opposition. So I thought there was a real sense of peril when Shota was caught in those holds. That helped build the babyface heat for him. So, I agree with everything you said about Shota. I do think there are elements he is still lacking. I thought his arm selling was inconsistent here, but nearly everything else is getting better. The pacing, the striking, the smoothness, the confidence, the emoting, the promos, the execution of those more intricate reversal sequences, the crowd interaction. Like, you can see Shota starting to believe that he is the guy that the fans want him to be. And prior to this, there was a disconnect. A couple of months ago, there was a disconnect between those two things. But I feel that that gap is closing now. I'm not going out here saying that, he's the finished article and let's strap him up with a big boy belt. But I'm telling you that I think this is going to be another one of those situations where a lot of casuals drag their feet and write him off and either ignore or don't notice these improvements. And when the day comes that Shota does get that statement win on a big stage and looks like $1 million, people, then they'll say, oh, actually, he's all right now.
Right.
Don't be one of those people. Pay attention and enjoy the journey of this young, talented wrestler, tightening up the facets of his game and learning from his mistakes, both in storyline and in reality, because if you pay attention, you see these things clicking with him. And a lot of these are things that can only come with experience. Like, Shota doesn't need the wins at this point in his career. He needs the reps.
Yep.
He needs to work programs with people who can help him improve. And this is a really positive step. Like, you can visibly notice the improvements here. So please watch him with an open mind. Appreciate the ride of seeing his slow, but in my opinion, inevitable rise to the top. Because New Japan, they're not presenting him to you as the finished product. I've said it before. They're actively putting those figurative flashing lights on Shota's failed attempts to channel other wrestlers.
Right.
Like you said, he tried the Death Rider twice and it failed. cost him the match. The clear story here is this is a young man who has the influences of his elders, but needs to figure out who he is and what he does, just like Chunky. Like, they're not telling you he is a championship level star. Since his return, he's lost to Ospreay twice, he's lost to Naito, lost to Finley, he's lost to Zack. His only non-Young Lion singles wins are Yujiro and Zack in the cup.
Right.
He's lost all his big matches, Damon. They are telling you that he isn't ready. So you got to pay attention to like I said before, the confluence of real life and the storytelling, and stop projecting future expectations onto who Shota is now, because this is all part of the plan. Enjoy the ride.
Right. Thank you. Well said. I couldn't agree more. Not for nothing. If you guys were on board, Naito, is a perfect example. Do you honestly, could anybody have projected Naito being who he is now when he was tagging with Yujiro? Or how about Okada, right? How about we throw out his time in TNA? Would anyone look at that time and be like, yep, that guy's going to be a stud? No, of course not. Of course not. It's funny. I was going through my phone, my pictures, and I had pictures of a young Watanabe, New Jersey independent wrestler Watanabe, wrestling in front of maybe 200 people, if that. I don't even think it was that much. On an indie show at Rahway, New Jersey. Who would have thought that that person would have turned into what he is today? And I know there's various people being like, he ain't nothing now. Okay, I get it, but. Again, just you are so right. He is being presented as a work in progress, right? It's a work in progress, and I think that's a good thing and a fun thing. And it's happened many times before, and it'll happen many times after. So come on, people, get a little patience. Let's go.
Fifth match was the IWGP Women Championship match three-way between Mercedes Mone, the challengers Azumi and Hazuki. So that was 13 minutes and 53 seconds, and Mercedes won with a moneymaker after pinning Azumi and successfully retained the IWGP Women Championship. So I don't even know if it needs to be said anymore that Mercedes Mone is the real deal here. Esther, you need to be quiet if you're going to stay in here. If you want to read your book, you can go outside.
Go outside.
Okay, so take your book outside then.
Yeah, close the door.
And close the door.
All right. Thank you very much.
The listeners don't want to hear you reading. What book are you reading there? Slinky Malinky. Yeah, the listeners don't want to hear Slinky Malinky. They want to hear me talking about Mercedes Mone.
I gotta be honest with you. I kind of want to hear a little. Slams the door defiantly. All right, very good. As you were saying,
3 years old, Damon. She's memorized all these books. Like, she can't read. Obviously, she's too young to understand, phonics and things like that, and decode the language in front of her. But she's just memorized all these books,
really?
and will sit there and turn the page and reciting it word for word. It's amazing. The power of reading. It can't be overstated.
I agree. Good job by her. Well done. Excellent. Speaking of great job by her, give me a little bit of that. Give me a little bit of that Monet, if you will.
Yes. So, as I was saying, she can do it all. Right? She's a draw. She can do the big US style main event epic. She can do the high speed stuff. So all the boxes ticked. I don't think there can be any doubts left over what she's bringing to the table. And what I really loved about this match was that it didn't fall back on the usual three-way tropes of one person having a snooze on the outside while we have a singles match in the ring. They packed this one, the whole lot, full of 100 miles an hour, creative, nasty-looking three-person spots. Most of the match, they were all in the ring together. And I love having these matches on these shows. It provides something different, something fresh. It's just really cool having one high-quality Joshi match on these big shows. So whether that is Mercedes in the long term or whether she moves on and does something else, I just think it's a really nice addition to these shows to have the IWGP Women's Title defended, just so we can get a little taste of all the action going on in Stardom.
There was a lot of nervous Nellies out there that were, kind of sitting on that. Oh, we can't have something like this in our New Japan. This would disrupt the flow of the universe. Lo and behold, dare I say, we saw a match that, quite honestly, I'm hard pressed to come up with a women's match that is even in the stratosphere. They went 1,000 miles an hour for 15 minutes or so, and again incorporating everyone in the spots. It wasn't that dump somebody outside the ring and then we're going to do our shit and then I'll take a powder. No, it wasn't. Everyone held their own. I got to be honest. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Monet came off as legit a star. I mean, just tremendous stuff. Just tremendous stuff all around by all three. You're right. It is a bit of a breath of fresh air. I don't think. I think if anybody had any worries before, I would hope that those worries are well gone, thrown out there. And here's the thing, too. I was worried, too. I'm going to be honest. I was worried, too. I was worried that would this be a good fit? Like, I mean, listen, we're talking about a star here, but, you know, can she keep up? And without question. I mean, she's fit in perfectly. Perfectly. They have a star. They legitimately have a bona fide star. I don't know what her contract situation is. I don't know how many dates she signed up for. I don't know any of that. But whatever I understand that the price tag has to be there has to be a return on the investment, right? So hopefully subs are up and, you know, live gates and all that fun stuff. But she's worth every penny. She's worth every penny. I mean, look, not for nothing. Who was the biggest star on that night? Like, who felt like a big star? She's got to be in that conversation. Maybe not the biggest, but damn sure right. She was right there at the top. It just felt special. And you know what? It felt like she knew where she was. You know, she knew, and I'm sure she knew that there were fucking dorks like us with stupid podcasts that were going to, you know, nitpick and fucking talk about. She shut everybody up. If anybody's complaining about this match, get up the street, honestly, because this was really good. And I think this is one of the best moves New Japan and Stardom, Bushiroad, have made. It's a win all the way around. Now, again, let's see where we are with the financials, because I'm sure she doesn't come cheap, but worth every penny to me, Joel. Worth absolutely every penny to me.
So the next challenger will be Mayu Iwatani at April 23rd in the Yokohama Arena Stardom show. So will you be tuning in for that, Damon? And also, follow-up question, Cactus says, once Mercedes completes her Japan stint, would you be in favour of seeing the IWGP Women's Championship being a regular match on New Japan cards? I mean, I think for both of us, that is a resounding yes. And yeah, how about that Stardom show? Because I think the acid test here is going to be whether people like us who are seeing these little teasers and tasters of Stardom action will go and take the next step and watch an actual Stardom show. Because I must admit, I'm intrigued now.
Yes.
I'm thinking more likely that I will check out this Yokohama Arena show to see Mercedes against Mayu.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I would pay for it. You know what I mean? Like if anybody's got a code or anything, I'll definitely take it off our hands. but I would pay for it. It's an exciting thing. And here's the thing too. It's a slightly different feel and energy and all of that, as opposed to New Japan and Stardom, right? It's a different feel and a different, like I said, a different energy, a different vibe. Yeah, at the very least, it piques my curiosity. And here's the thing too, not for nothing, I am kind of on board in the sense of, you know what, I'll lay down another $20 or $25 or whatever the cost of this show might be. I'll do that with the knowledge of I'm helping keeping this going. and your $20 listener, trust me, will do the same. Like if you like what you see, I just talked about it, the return on investment. Well, guess what? If nobody buys this Stardom show, I don't know if you're going to see a lot. This is a real test. So if you like it, let me just wrap it up because I feel like I'm going on a fucking tangent here. But support the product, pay. I know everybody's times are tough, but if you want to see more of this, you got to do it.
What a dummy.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do it. Don't be a dummy.
So fourth match here was the 6-man tag match with El Phantasmo, Kenta, and David Finlay defeating Master Wato, Hikuleo, and Tama Tonga. So ELP pinned Wato after 8 minutes 46 seconds with the CR2, which then led to a lot of stuff going on. So we had David Finlay beating down Tama Tonga because he wants a taste of that never openweight title. And eventually ELP stepped in to say he's had enough, which one thing led to another, and basically ELP got his head kicked in by Bullet Club. It looked like Ishimori was going to come out and make the save, reunited the world's cutest tag team, but no, Ishimori turned on ELP as well. So ELP is out. Krusty is here. He came, finally. The ELP has been kicked out of Bullet Club. Finlay says he's handpicked a replacement, so we've got some matches lined up. We've got Finlay versus Tama Tonga for the Never title, Hikuleo versus Kenta. It looks like that's going to be for the strong title at some point in the future. But we finally got the big angle where ELP is out of Bullet Club. What did you think of the angle and its execution?
It's been building for this for a while, just this little pocket between ELP and David Finlay going back and forth online and on Twitter and all that stuff. So kind of knew it was coming, but or at least it felt that way. The execution I thought was fine, very good. I got no problem with it. It did feel a little underwhelming. Only in the sense of you think about all the woulda, couldas, and shouldas when it came to this, and none of which came to pass. And really, the big breakup is, kind of, I wouldn't say anticlimactic, but, you think about all the players that you had access to make this happen. I mean, and no disrespect to anyone in the ring, to be quite honest with you, but I think we all know what we're trying to say here. That being said, the idea of Jay White signing with AEW, that does provide a lot of flexibility when it comes to not only him, his character, which is pretty much the same as it was in New Japan. Even the idea of using Bullet Club, mannerisms and Juice being there as well. And, I think there's a little bit more to the possibilities of Jay White still having some type of dealings with New Japan. I think the door is wide open for that. So, while, again, it does seem like a little bit toward the side of anticlimactic, know that, there is still much more, it would be a different story if he did go to WWE, which, I think everyone is in agreement that was a definite possibility, more than a possibility, quite honestly. Whether WWE's on some type of hiring freeze with their buyout and all that stuff that came with that, who knows? But Jay White being in AEW does raise some eyebrows in the sense that maybe the story isn't quite done with Jay White.
Yeah, so a lot of questions raised about what it means for Jay White and what's next for ELP. And I do think it's worth praising New Japan for going with I don't want to say the obvious outcome, but basically not doing a swerve for the sake of doing a swerve, because we could see the breadcrumbs with ELP. They've been there for months and months and months. We've called this happening, but I don't think that's not a reason for them to just suddenly change direction and do something shocking for the sake of it. It made sense for this to happen in the story, and that's the way it played out. So well done. Sometimes the most obvious outcome is the best outcome, and I think that was the case here. Whether or not the execution could have been a bit more dramatic, I thought it was fine personally, and I'm interested to see where ELP lands next. So you brought it up. Daryl says, did you catch Jay's debut on Dynamite? I was expecting him to pop up somewhere with a huge angle. Somehow him blindsiding Ricky Stark seems disappointing to me. What do you think of him choosing AEW as his new home? Marcus says, how does Jay White signing to AEW affect the Bullet Club infighting? Was he officially kicked out or just demoted to Bullet Club US? Mitch says, I'm struggling to follow the Bullet Club Civil War. Please break down the hand gesture law so I can better understand it. Thank you. I do have to reiterate what I said previously. I'm starting to get saturated with it. And having been burnt before on the previous Bullet Club Civil War, which did not have a satisfactory ending, now we've got a Bullet Club Civil War that is spanning across 3 different promotions. I am not holding my breath for a satisfying and coherent outcome to this. If there is one, then great, I will enjoy it, but I'm not getting my hopes up for a brilliantly, intricately told master story between all 3 of these companies. I just think there's too many moving parts. There's too much politics involved. So I'm sorry, I'm hand waving the Jay White stuff at the moment. It doesn't interest me. I was thinking the most interesting thing for Jay White would be, for me personally, because we've seen Switchblade do, he's done it all. So I'm done with the Switchblade character. Personally, I would like to see something new from Jay White, but him popping up on AEW doing the exact same character, the exact same gimmick, I mean, sure, there's fresh feuds for him to have. I'll be interested to watch the matches, but it doesn't excite me. And the prospect of this big Bullet Club Civil War between the 2 companies having, a multi-man, I don't know, Forbidden Door, like Bullet Club New Japan versus Bullet Club AEW, blah, blah, blah. I don't have the energy for it. Honestly, just the prospect of it, I find exhausting.
I agree. First, you have to give a fuck about Bullet Club, to be quite honest. Like, you have to think, that's a thing at this point. And really, that's, if you've had enough Bullet Club, then it's going to be difficult, to kind of follow along 3 different fucking companies. Honestly, I don't give a shit at this point. I really don't. I could care less. But look, I know I can't completely discount it because there is still interest in it, and people still, like I said, you go to any one of these fucking US shows, aside from the Lion Mark T-shirt, Bullet Club is still like the number 1 T-shirt there. I mean, maybe not in sales, but people wearing them. It's a thing. I can't deny it. So, it's not like there's no interest in it. I guess for us talking about it all the time and just constantly, for years, it's always been a thing. And again, I just, it is exhausting. It is exhausting. But if you're into it, know that it's going to be, I think the idea and the prospects of it is a little bit better. I kind of disagree with you a little bit in the sense that, if Jay White was gone to WWE, I think it would be different, but there's still stuff that can be done. Hopefully And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. I'll give them. I'll hold off judgment because we haven't seen it yet. But to be honest, here we have a lot. we have a lot of coulda, shoulda, wouldas with this. So I'm not super confident with there being a cohesive story here.
All right, third match was the just three guys team, Doki, Kanemaru, and Taichi, defeating the LIJ team with Bushi, Shingo, and Naito. So Kanemaru got the submission win over Bushi in 9 minutes 20 seconds with a figure four leg lock. So we got the new entrants for just five guys. So they've got a new theme. They're entering through the crowds. Very NWO Japan vibes from that theme. And this was an interesting match, not least for the beef between Naito and Doki. So Naito was spitting on him, and then they were jaw-jacking at the end, and this is leading up to a singles match between them, and also Shingo and Taichi are going to be locking horns again. So as I said before, we've got an interesting LIJ versus Just Five Guys feud to look forward to, and I'm particularly intrigued in that Naito and Doki match.
Me too. Please excuse the absolute ignoramus question, but I will.
What a dummy.
What I will ask is this. Doki's still a junior, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay. So on one show, we've really had two juniors challenging heavyweights right before Best of the Super Junior. Is that strange to you? Is that did that stand out to you at all? Yeah,
it does seem like the boundaries between the two divisions are more blurred than they have been in previous years, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing with this match where I was like, oh, of all people, it's Doki. Okay, so I was excited by that and the prospects of that. I thought the match was okay. It was fine. It was fine. But yeah, the post match and the beatdowns and setting up of new programs. Once again, look, you can't wag your finger at them for trying something different, right? They're trying to mix it up. They're going to add a little bit of spice. I like that. I like that a lot. So, the biggest takeaway from that match was that interaction at the end. So I'm all for it.
And our second match was Francesco Akira, Aaron Hanare, and Jeff Cobb defeating Sho, Yujiro, and Evil. 8 minutes and 1 second. Jeff Cobb, very impressive finish there, doing a 2-for-1 on the Tour of the Islands there. So we're setting up some future stuff here. Jeff Cobb is going to face the winner of Zach against Filthy Tom. Akira has accepted the Jet Setters challenge against Catch 22. And said rude words to him in Italian as well. So it really feels at the moment, I don't know, I'll talk about it later. I was just going to say House of Torture just feel like complete jobbers at the moment. That's not necessarily a criticism, but they just feel like right at the bottom of the pecking order at the moment. But that was the second match on the show. Yeah,
I mean, it does feel like the fact that House of Torture is just this kind of like goofy heels. We've talked about it a lot, but like the goofiness has now gotten to the point where, they're stumbling over their own feet, and just it isn't like in a kayfabe sense. It isn't working, So I guess the question is raised, so how do they change that up? From a behind the curtain perspective, it does make you wonder what those plans and that influence of Dick Togo and all that stuff, where that went, if it's still a thing, if it ever was a thing, it does lead to at least some questions, I think, as to where we stand with good old Dick Togo.
And our first match was the Shinichi Champion Grand Prix celebration match, a six-man tag team match where we had the team of Great Khan, Toru Yano, and Minoru Suzuki defeating the team of Yo, El Desperado, and Hiroshi Tanahashi in 30 minutes 10 seconds. So Yano pins Tanahashi with a schoolboy. So for this match, what stood out to me was the Yo and Desperado interactions, because they were on the same team, but Yo was being a bit of a prick to Despy. So something to keep an eye on as we head into Best of the Super Juniors. These are two high-level junior heavyweight wrestlers. So yeah, keep your eye on that. Are they going to be in the same block? Is that, maybe is that a potential final? Both of these guys have been in Best of the Super Juniors finals in recent years. So yeah, keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the story of the match obviously was the idea of, now, enemies and guys who have problems with each other on the same team. You saw that with Great-O-Khan and Minoru Suzuki. You saw that on the other side with the juniors. You had Tanahashi kind of trying to direct traffic, and then, he gets the nut shot and 1, 2, 3. Look, the match was what the match was. Right? It was there. But again, if you're going to hang your hat on anything in this match, is that interaction of guys that were, at each other's throats pretty much the whole match, and yet they're technically on the same team. So there you go.
So that was Sakura Genesis. We had an attendance of 6,510, with a caveat being that they restricted 2 people to a box rather than the usual 4. But a fantastic show, absolute show of the year contender.
Wow!
Esther's gone into full sabotage the podcast mode. But for me, a fantastic show, and yet another one of those New Japan is back moments, because I think this is the first proper sumo hall noisy crowd we've had, and it's different, doesn't it, Damon? This match there was just something about this show, the energy of it, the noise, that was very, very pleasing and exciting to me.
Oh yeah, we're talking a lot about the show and the wrestlers on the show and how they really worked their asses off, and every match seemed to top the next, and it was really a fun, great show, made even better by a crowd that was there for it. They were noisy, and they were cheering and booing, and they were an active participant in the show, and that was felt so good. Look, we've said it 1,000,000,000,000 times, but it does feel really good. Like this again was another step in that direction of. And a big step, mind you, because let's put it this way: I think we've crossed the finish line with this show. It did feel like we're back, and G1 will, and Best of the Super Juniors both will help solidify that and get people back in the swing of things, because it's back. It's back, and I think it's back and fresh and exciting. Here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
I'd also like to touch on a couple of the matches that happened on the Road to Sakura Genesis shows at Korakuen Hall on the 2nd and 3rd of April. So from the show on the 3rd of April, there was the main event that was the Never Openweight 6-Man Tag Team Championship match, where the champions, what they call Strong Style, so that's Ren, Despy, and Suzuki, defeated the challengers of...
She's hungry. You hungry?
Oh, God, she's really throwing me under the bus here, making me sound like such a rubbish dad. She's, oh my God, they're going to be like, oh, look, Joel, he's got his daughter's starving. You're just giving her something to eat. She's just playing up.
Why don't you
give her some book. She was about to walk out the door and go and sit in the other room and read. And I said, good choice, Esther. You're going to take Harry McClary, read it in the other room. Good choice. And then she stopped, turned around and said, no, not a good choice. Reading a book, not a good choice. It's not yours. And then put the book back, and she's just messing with me now. She's a little troll.
It's Arthur.
It's Arthur's. Yes, it's Arthur's. Right. Yes. So anyway, this Never Openweight 6-Man Tag Team Championship match. I was really looking forward to this, being House of Torture at Korakuen Hall, but it didn't. I don't know. It was just there. It was fine. And likewise, the 6th match, which was the Dream Team versus Taichi Sanada tag team match. Again, I was really excited by that, but it turned into an 8-minute just nothing match. It was just there. So these two are kind of hand wave. I'm not going to strongly recommend anyone goes out of their way to check either of them out. I was a little bit surprised that Strong Style retained, but I'm quite happy that they did, because I think House of Torture, there's something feels off about them at the moment. I'm not going to give Yujiro a hard time. I'm going to give him a pass because I can't. Let's just say he and I have got something in common, and I'm more sympathetic to the challenges that Yujiro is experiencing in life at the moment. So I'm not going to completely throw him under the bus. So I'll just leave it there. I will say no more. But what I do want to talk about is the match from the April 2nd, which was the KOPW provisional match. The Ultimate Triad match, I believe it was called. The Shingo win against Aaron Henare, 38 minutes and 15 seconds. So the caveat for this match being that you had to get a pinfall and a submission and a 10 count in order to win the match. Did you see this one, Damon?
Certainly did. I mean, the buzz was there, especially after Big Dave chucking out stars like they were going out of style. I did see it. I loved the match. Loved it. Look, I don't know about this 5 1/4 or whatever. Whatever that means, whatever 5 1/4 means. But you can tell, and it, you don't try and tell me much different, but like, people care, right? People don't want to care about those silly stars. Wrestlers care. You don't think Henare feels good? Maybe he jerked off in the fucking hotel room afterward. Maybe he had himself a little egg action, little eggaroo, just to release some of that, because the match was fucking great, and he's getting recognized for it. Again, I don't know what the fuck a 5 1/2 or 5 1/4, whatever. Was it a great match? Yes. Was it hard hitting? Yes. Even with the brawling in the crowd, usually that's a spot that people, I don't know, you get into the old walk and brawl kind of thing that people are easy to dismiss. But no, they were going for it. That east section was getting an up close version, and the match was really good. It was hard hitting, and it was fun. And Shingo is fucking great. And at 40 years old, I mean, come on, the guy can go. But, let's talk a little bit about Henare, because guess what? He delivered. Even if you thought the match was 4 1/2, 5, whatever the fuck, still, he delivered. Main event, Cork and Hall, in a somewhat big spot. I mean, that's the main event of the show. He delivered. When he got the tap on the shoulder, he delivered. Can't say he didn't. No matter what you think of his book or his whatever, who cares? The guy put on a fantastic pro wrestling match. That checked a lot of boxes. Now, can he do that with, anyone? I don't know. I think Shingo's a really solid dance partner, a guy who complements his style tremendously, and can kind of morph into whoever he needs to be to make a match work with whomever he's working with. But you got to tip your hat. You got to tip your hat for Henare. He's a guy that, it felt like he was going to get lapped. It felt like a guy who was lost in the shuffle and injuries and COVID and all the excuses. But when it came time, he delivered. Got to give it to him. So, yeah, I really did like the match a ton. Again, I don't know what it was. I've said it 1,000 times, but you feel 5 stars. I don't know if I felt it, but if somebody said they did and told me, yep, that was awesome, I'm giving it 5, I would not argue with them.
And I think a lot of people might look at the length of it being 38 minutes and balk at that. But I think that was a bold and also a logical choice, because there might have been a temptation to cram it all into 20 minutes and just do the usual sort of crowd pleaser, Korakuen style main event. But bear in mind that the last time these guys wrestled, I'd have to check actually, but when they had their singles match, which was one fall during the New Japan Cup, was that at Korakuen Hall as well? Let me check.
I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't. So you're going to have to suffer through me clicking through various links to try and find how long it went, because I think it is important, because the point I'm trying to make here is basically that often my complaint when you have these sort of Iron Man matches, so 20 minutes was their singles match in the New Japan Cup. So often in these sort of matches, there's the temptation just to just cram the falls in early, so you get a very quickly paced. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but basically that when you have these multi-fall matches, that you end up people taking falls that don't really make sense. Like they'll get pinned with a big move after like 7 minutes just because they've got they lack the courage of their convictions to actually make the stipulation work in a logical way. But it made sense that you wouldn't get the fall until after 20 minutes, because these are two high-level professional wrestlers. So I'm glad that they didn't fall into the temptation of thinking, no, we've got to get in the first fall early just so we've got to keep the crowd excited or whatever. I don't know exactly when the first fall was, but it made sense that, I think it was after 20 minutes, where that's what you would expect from two wrestlers like this. And then obviously the subsequent falls happened more frequently because they were tired and worn down and were beating each other up. So I think it was it really made sense and was logical and cohesive in the way that first periods, they took their time. And I'm not saying they were working it slow or pacing themselves or anything like that. It was just, it felt like a coherent single full wrestling match up until that first fall. And then it just kicked into an extra gear after that. So I applaud them for not getting stuck into that tempting, but I think misguided trope of trying to cram in your falls early. This made complete sense to me. I thought they sold the exhaustion brilliantly at the end, with Shingo hitting that last pumping bomber with just the last ounce of energy he had, and he nearly wiped himself out. He could barely get up for the 10 count at the end, and Hinari nearly got up. He got to his feet at 9 and just sort of collapsed right after that. The crowd ate it all up. So I thought it was a great match. And also, let's throw some respect at Shingo Takagi for taking this KOPW ball and running with it, because it's way past the sort of goofy, silly stipulation era that it was under Yano. He's really transformed it into something interesting and appealing and creative and good to watch. I mean, it's competitive. It's high-level pro wrestling. There's no silliness. There's no goofiness. I think Shingo's doing a really good job with it.
Yeah, and I think that match, let's keep in mind that was that KOPW championship, right? We know how goofy that can be. We know that, what it morphed into, this Comedy Central fucking slapsticky nonsense. And this match was anything but. So, there are some guys that, present that title in a fashion that, you can really get behind. Like I don't have that big of a deal of a problem with that title. I mean, I hate the belt itself, but the title itself, depends on who has it. To be honest with you, the stuff with Tai Chi was creative and fun and different and still great pro wrestling. When he's holding that title, good things come from it. Good things definitely come from it. And if you told somebody that was a KOPW match, or if it were like for the Never title, like that was it. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was like a Never title, like how the Never title was always that hard hitting, beefy guys beating the fuck out of each other type match. And that's exactly what it delivered. So, yeah, I mean, that was really, really fun and creative the way that they laid everything out. Because it could have gone south. It definitely could have gone south if they didn't have the courage to do what they did. But it didn't. And they got rewarded for it. And they did a great job with it.
And also from the show, the fifth match was the Oleg Boltin debut match, where the team of Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles, and Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Oleg Boltin, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Shota Umino. So Zack submitted Oleg after 11 minutes and 5 seconds with a cross arm breaker. So I was out here on the streets yelling at Cloud saying, no, this guy's not presented like a young lion. He's different. You know, he's got his red singlet in the render. He's not going to be eating pins. And then he came out, shaved head, black trunks, and I was like, oh, fuck. So eating a massive L there. But in spite of that, I do think there is just something different about the way he's being presented. And I still think he's going to get an accelerated progress through the traditional young lion route. But what did you think of his debut match here?
I mean, it was fine, and you're right. It did feel different even before the shaved head and the black tights. But yeah, I mean that's what it turned out to be, and if that's the case, then the finish was proper. I mean, I don't know if I'm doing. You know, it was good, fine. I mean, I'm not doing cartwheels over it, and there really wasn't a lot to sink your teeth into when it came to, you know, how am I going to rate this guy, or what is he going to be in the future, or what have you. He is an older guy, you know. There is that talk of, you know, you better, you know, shit or get off the pot with this guy because, you know, it's not like he's 21. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a hot take to be had other than. He's a young lion, and he's going to be doing some jobs.
So Rod says, do you feel that New Japan has huge plans for Oleg? It feels like they're trying to keep him a secret. A gaijin who can speak fluently in Japanese also. Seeing what you think. Why isn't he getting as many of the matches as the others are? So I do think he is going to get an expedited trip through that. Again, given his age as well. But there is an interesting match coming up at Dontaku, and I'm not sure if you have seen this, Damon. Let me find it for you. So we have a unique kickoff bout for Dontaku. We'll see the first ever young lion, Esther. Quiet, please. She's such a little. A unique kickoff bout for Dontaku. We'll see the first.
Oh. Oh, okay.
She knows exactly how to push my buttons, literally and figuratively. All right, let's try this a third time. A unique kickoff bout for Dontaku. We'll see the first ever Young Lion hat trick challenge match. One of 4 young lions, Ryohei Oiwa, Yuto Nakashima, Oscar Loiba, or Boltin Oleg, to be announced at a later date, will compete in 3 5-minute matchups. Should they be able to run the gauntlet and win all 3, they will be granted a future shot at the NJPW World TV Championship, as well as 200,000 yen of yakiniku barbecue courtesy of CS Asahi. Rich and delicious prizes indeed. What do you think of that?
Wow. Well, I mean, that's motivation. You know, there's only so much chunko a fucking guy can eat, right? That's quite the stipulation. I feel like we've seen that before, though. Haven't we seen something like that before where they ran a gauntlet? Was it like one of those? Remember when they had the Lions Pride shows? I want to say it was a lion. I could be wrong, but that seems somewhat familiar. But not with those bonuses thrown in there. What is it? 200,000 yen worth of Korean barbecue? What is it?
Yakiniku. So yeah, that's basically like the Japanese equivalent of Korean barbecue. Yeah. And also an NJPW World TV title shot. I mean, do you think that is going to be Oleg?
I mean, if what we're saying is true, that would seem to push it in that direction, don't you think? You know, if we need to shit or get off the pot and get him winning this and frying up some meat, might be in our future.
Yeah, I think, given that you said that, I think the others we can afford to take our time with. Oleg, I think he's 30 years old. So, yeah, I think we don't want to be wasting time. So I think that will be a good way to accelerate that progress without completely destroying the young lion system structure there. All right, so that we also have G1 Climax announcements here. So
All right.
they have G1 Climax 33 will occur across 19 events in 30 days. So we're kicking off on July 15th and 16th in Hokkaido. Then we're going to all the usual stops, finishing off with a double header. So instead of a triple header, we've got a double header, the 12th and the 13th at Sumo Hall Ryogoku. So the notable thing here, this is 19 events. It is the traditional scheduling, which may indicate the return of the 20 wrestler fields. And the G1 final returns to Ryogoku for the 27th time, but the first since 2020. So looking at this, do you think that we are going back to the traditional 20 participants field?
Yeah, when I saw that, I kind of did think that would be the case. And I know we extended the invitations the last G1, and a lot of that had to do with the 50th celebration and all that stuff. But I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea of tightening it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm totally cool with it.
And we will preview these in more detail nearer the time, but just some quick announcements for the upcoming Dontaku tour. So on the April 27th Road to Dontaku show in Hiroshima, we have Best of the Super Juniors lineups announced. We have Doki versus Naito singles match. We have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match between Catch 2-2 and the Jet Setters. That's Kushida and Kevin Knight. And we're main eventing with Hiromu defending that Junior Heavyweight title against Yoshinobu Kanemaru, where if Hiromu wins, he will then go on to challenge Sanada for the IWGP World Heavyweight title at Dontaku. So that Hiroshima show, definitely one to circle in your calendar. April 29th show in Kagoshima. So let me get the name of this show exactly right. That is... we've also got the Hiroki Goto 20th anniversary event coming up. Let me have a look at that. I missed that one. But yeah, that one I just
terrific.
This is Wrestling Satsuma no Kuni on April 29th in Kagoshima. So for those, the headline matches are Shingo versus Taichi, yet again for KOPW, and Aussie Open defending their heavyweight tag titles against TMDK. Let me just quickly check this Hiroki Goto 20th anniversary event and main event here. Well, no, it's gone all massive. For some reason, after the third, okay, maybe this is just mine. I'm going to send it to you. You tell me if you are seeing the same thing as me, because I got really frightened there when I scrolled down. So please have a look and tell me if you are seeing the same thing.
All right, let's see here. I see, all right, Hiroki Goto, 20th anniversary, the 22nd of April. I see that. Okay, that doesn't seem odd, opening that. Okay, great. All right. That seems very large. Fourth match.
Because I scroll down, I'm seeing the first match, the second match, the third match. Then when I go past the third match, I scroll down and there's an enormous render of Mark Davis.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly when I saw it. I was like, why is this so big? Yes, they got to fix this on mobile because it looks like shit.
Because I can't tell what the match is for Hiroki Goto's 20th
Master
anniversary.
Wato, and then I see Geto. There's Umino, Taiji Ishimori. There's like a leg. Yeah, everybody. I don't know what they're trying to do here. They got to fix it. Yeah, it looks like shit. So somebody fix that, please.
And then at Wrestling Dontaku on May... All right, enough. Wrestling Dontaku on May the 3rd, we have the beef match, as I mentioned, and also, apart from the undercard, we have Kenta versus Hikuleo, which may be a strong title match depending on whether Kenta can successfully defend it this weekend. We've got Zack Sabre Jr. versus Cobb, which may be an NJPW World TV title match depending if Zack can successfully defend this weekend. Then we also have Strong Style defending their Never Six-Man titles against a mystery team of Okada plus two others. So Ren went up to Okada after the main event and said, Okada, please challenge me for the Never Six-Man titles So we don't know who Okada's partners will be, but there's that. We also have Tama Tonga defending the Never title against David Finlay. And then the main event presumably will be SANADA defending the IWGP World Heavyweight title against Hiromu. So that is Don Taku. We will preview those near at the time. But just quick thoughts, Damon. That's quite a tasty lineup. I'm looking forward to this tour. I think there's quite a lot to sink your teeth into there.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, better than some. I'd like to see what that Hiroki Goto show turns out to be. But yeah, I think we got some fun stuff coming up. And again, that Stardom show should be pretty fun too, just for the main event alone. So, lots of good things coming up.
And we also have 2 shows in the States this weekend. Are you going to one of these, Damon? Are you going to the Philly show? Okay. I take that as a yes.
Let me tell
have you seen the full cards for this yet?
Yeah, I have. I'm going to be honest with you. They're not the most exciting of shows, at least lineup wise. I'm not doing car wheels here. I mean, you can go over the lineup, but it's nothing to fucking. It's not. Listen, 2300 when New Japan came used to be a buzzworthy fucking time, and I don't, man, at least 4 shows in a row. I'll give you a once again, a definitely maybe. I am in no rush to fucking see this. So go ahead, give them the lineup, but I'm really indifferent on it.
Okay, well, we've got a doubleheader this weekend. We've got Capital Collision. This is on Saturday in Washington, D.C. So kickoff match is Badu Tito and Shane Haste against Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. Don't know what's going on with Tito and Shane, if they are not able to make it to Japan for some reason. But at least I'm pleased to see Tito still part of the company, still part of TMDK. And good to see West Coast Wrecking Crew back in action. I think that'll be a good match. First match, we've got DKC, Clark Connors, Leo Rush, Rocky Romero, and Chuck Taylor against Kevin Knight, Gabe Kidd, Mike Bailey, Volador Jr., and Kushida. So interesting to see. This is mostly junior heavyweights and with an eye towards better the Super Juniors. I mean, maybe we might see the likes of Mike Bailey or Volador in Best of the Super Juniors. We will see. But it's a 10-man
maybe Chuck Taylor
tag team match. Maybe. But, these 10-man tag matches on these strong shows never miss. I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun. Second match, we've got Fred Rossa against Juice Robinson in a singles match. AR Fox against David Finlay. We have the NJPW World TV Championship match with Zack Sabre Jr. defending against Tom Lawler. I think Zack will retain that one and go on to defend it against Jeff Cobb at Don Taku. Fifth match, we've got a special singles match with Tomohiro Ishii versus El Desperado, which have they wrestled before? I think they might have done in the New Japan Cup in the last couple of years. Sixth match, we've got Hiromu and Naito against Kanemaru and Sanada, which I think will be really good. Strong Openweight Championship match, Kenta defending against Eddie Edwards. I expect Kenta to successfully defend there. And then the Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship match, main event with the champions, Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, defending in a 3-way match against Aussie Open and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kazuchika Okada. So I don't know, in terms of a prediction here, I'm starting to think that we don't need these strong titles anymore because strong is not strong anymore. For these strong shows, We're getting people flying over from Japan. So I would say the smart move would be Aussie Open win and merge the titles. Let's get rid of the strong titles. They were nice to have during the pandemic when we had this weekly strong show, but now that strong is not a thing, too many titles, let's get rid of the titles. So I'm saying Aussie Open to win and merge the 2 sets of titles. But I quite like this show. This Capital Collision one looks pretty good. I think there's some interesting singles matches, interesting tag matches there. We've got a few title matches. So that one looks good to me. Sure.
That one's fine. There's lots to get excited over if you're in the Washington, D.C. area or willing to drive a little bit to get there. But that's, I mean, I like the venue too. I think the venue's pretty cool. Yeah, that's not bad. That's okay. Now the next night, why don't you give us the Philadelphia lineup?
Okay, Collision in Philadelphia. First match, Volador Jr. and El Desperado versus Kevin Knight and Delirious.
Okay, terrific.
We have the second match is an ROH Pure Rules match. Alex Coughlin against Tracy Williams. That could be quite good. Could be quite good. Third match, we have Bad Boot Tito, Shane Haste, and Zack Sabre Jr. against Jarrell Nelson, Royce Isaacs, and Tom Lawler. Fourth match, Rocky Romero and Fred Rosser versus Kanemaru and Sanada. Fifth match, we've got an injury replacement here. So Eddie Kingston is being replaced by Orange Cassidy against Gabe Kidd. And if Orange Cassidy is still
terrific.
the Atlantic champion at that point, then it will be a title match for that. So he'll be presumably... Esther's got no respect for Collision in Philadelphia. So Orange Cassidy versus Gabe Kidd, possibly for the title. Sixth match, we've got Hiromu and Tetsuya Naito versus Chase Owens and Kenta. Seventh match, we have IWGP United States Championship #1 Contenders Tournament first round. Lance Archer versus Juice Robinson. So that's the first. That's one of the semi-finals. The other semi-final will be at Resurgence next month, which will be Ospreay versus Tanahashi. And then the winner of Lance versus Juice will face the winner of Ospreay versus Tanahashi at Dominion. And then the winner of that match will presumably go on to challenge Kenny Omega for the US title. I guess it will be Forbidden Door. So we're getting the first leg of that here with Lance versus Juice. And then the main event, Lio Rush, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroshi Tanahashi against TJP, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. I'm wondering maybe TJP is a replacement for Ospreay. It would have made more sense for Ospreay to be in that spot with Aussie Open, but that's your main event. So no, not doing cartwheels over this one then.
Nah. Sorry. All right, I'll stop. All right, very good. That's my feelings.
No, I can't touch it.
What are you touching, Esther?
My eye.
Your eyelashes?
Yeah.
Ah.
Esther, playing with her eyelashes, possibly more fun and interesting than Collision in Philadelphia. I mean, what about the key matches here? Thoughts on this United States Championship tournament? So, like I said, one side of the brackets, we've got Lance and Juice. Other side, we've got Ospreay and Tanahashi. Winner of that to face Kenny.
I mean, I think everyone is kind of circling Will for this spot, right? I don't want to say it's a four.
Tanahashi. I think Tanahashi might be a good match for Forbidden Door. Tanahashi against Kenny. Maybe you save Ospreay versus Kenny for Wembley. That could have been the deal. Maybe when they were hashing it out at the end of last year, it was that Ospreay Omega 1 is for New Japan at Tokyo Dome, and Ospreay Omega 2 is for AEW at Wembley. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a foregone conclusion. I think Tanahashi is not to be ruled out here.
It's a good point. It's absolutely a valid point, and that's a big building, Wembley. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's pretty big. A lot of big events happen there. And if you're looking to fill a building, how about a hometown boy coming home and putting on a show with Kenneth? Yeah. I mean, listen, you could run that fucking match 1,000 times. I don't think anybody would get sick of it. But yeah, I mean, if you're saving shit for the big Wembley show, that's one to save. So yeah, you might be right about that. You might be right. This might be Tanahashi's deal.
Do you remember when Kenny Omega said he was going to defend the US title in Japan? Do you remember that?
That's a good one. Oh yeah, sure.
So he's not going to defend it until Forbidden Door, which is in Canada, might I add. So that's 2 defenses in North America within the space of 6 months. So, yeah, good job. And I'm not even blaming Kenny or AEW for that. It was New Japan chose to put the belt on him. And again, I asked myself, what are New Japan getting out of this? We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But again, they do have a fetish for having their secondary titles cucked by foreign wrestlers. So maybe they love it. Maybe Ghetto's watching this with a Tenga egg wrapped around his member and going, oh, yeah. The fucking
how do I work this? I'm a quarter stroke guy. Who cares? I'll say Juice.
I'm going to say Lance. I think that would be a fun match for Dominion. So if Lance wins this one, then basically he's through to the finals in Dominion. So I think Lance Archer versus... I'm going to say it will be a Lance versus Tanahashi final at Dominion. And I think that's something the Japanese crowd will really enjoy.
Yeah. It's probably closer to happening because, I don't know. Would Juice want to go to fucking Japan at this point? So, yeah, you might be right.
Okay. No, I'm done.
Yeah, me too. I'm fucking spent.
Yeah. All right. So, redcircle.com/super-j-cast. We appreciate your financial contributions. Please keep them coming in. Discord link you can get by sending me a direct message on Twitter at Cobra Kawaii and ProWrestlingTees.com/SuperJcast. Thanks to editor Dan, as always, who's on Twitter at LousyHero219. Subscribe to the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network for other great shows. Give us a 5-snake review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at the SuperJcast. Thank you everybody for listening and goodbye.
What a dummy. 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 What a dummy.
Music. It's not just part of our daily lives, it's part of our wrestling fandom as well, and it has been for decades. That's where this show comes in. Music of the Mat, the podcast devoted exclusively to the music of pro wrestling, hosted by Andrew Rich. Hey, that's me. Each episode delivers a different topic with a variety of great guests, fun conversations, musical analysis, and of course, a heartfelt pun or two. New episodes drop every other Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast app of choice. Check out Music of the Mat only on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Hello everyone, my name is Taylor.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are the co-hosts of Jumping Bomb Audio, the podcast all about Joshi Pro Wrestling here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. Every other Monday, we are with you talking about the biggest news in Joshi, along with show reviews, previews, and much, much more.
So if you're new to Joshi or you've been a longtime fan, this is the show for you. We've got something for everyone here. So check us out, Jumping Bomb Audio.
At Kroger, we want our fresh produce to meet your expectations, which is why we're dedicated to doing up to a 27-point inspection on our fruits and veggies, checking for things like scarring. In fact, only the best produce like zesty oranges and crisp carrots reach our shelves, because when it comes to fresh, our higher standards mean fresher produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.